Stay true, yeah, on the flex. Fly on the jet, count up a check, yeah. Get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt.
I am asking you, Mr. CEO, Mr. Brilliant One, what is an appropriate way to shed light on a pattern?
I'm using my executive powers to not answer that question, and we will move on to the next one. And I want my rule to stay. I need protection. Y'all don't have any idea what I have to deal with when ain't nobody in this house but me and her fury comes down upon thee.
Some people feel like rules are a four-letter word. I feel like rules are instituted.
I do.
This one because, you know, he's a dreamer and very spontaneous and, very artistic in nature. And I, on the other hand, I am a rule follower. I'm very analytical and, I need structure to feel safe and to be happy. So, it's been a challenge between the two of us just trying to understand how to complement each other and how to be accepting of each other. And so for me, I feel like rules keep the relationship safe. They protect the relationship.
If something recent, it's not the past, it is recent. I call it the past when you have come together in an agreement to resolve what has happened and you're now going to recondition the behavior to move forward. And you have been, or the other person have been forgiven. If you have forgiven them for it, and you guys have agreed on the forgiveness, and you've agreed on what efforts you're going to put forward, moving forward, it now becomes the past. Waiting for Mark to give me video. I am now the host. And there we go. We are live. Yes, we are.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. All the ladies out there, happy Mother's Day to you and everyone who's out there. Really, really, really excited about today. Today, obviously, we dedicate to all the mothers out there. And all the mothers to be who are out there, and all the women who are out there in some capacity. You have exercised your motherhood, whether you had them yourself or if you're in business and you've got employees or whatever it is. You exercise motherhood. Right. So we understand, and happy Mother's Day to you. So happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you, my love.
Yes.
And a beautiful Mother's Day it is. It's gorgeous weather today in Houston. I haven't been outside, so I don't know what the temperature is like, but it's beautiful.
It's absolutely incredible. It's really, really gorgeous. It seems like when we don't fight before we come to the show, the weather is great.
No, baby, we're on a roll now.
We are. We're
not fighting. Okay?
The weather's been on a roll. We've been on a roll. There's been no fights the last 3 times, so I think we have equal amount of fights coming to the show and equal amount of not fighting coming to the show. So anyway,
progress, people.
Yes. How we doing out there?
Tell us where you're from.
Let us know where you're from before we get started today. And we are going to have a great talk today. And let's see where you're from out there. Let us know where you're from. Hopefully you guys can hear us really good too. Okay, there we go. All right, where are we? Cleveland, Ohio's out there.
Cleveland.
Okay, people all over. I'm on actually the Facebook right now, and I can see the messages on Facebook. So as they come through, all right. So we've got South Carolina. They're going to start coming through now because it's they said it's not really delayed. It's just the messages come through as they come in. And some people have put all their Happy Mother's Day stuff out there. So we got Bronx, New York out there. UK is there. New Jersey, New York, Freeport, New York is out there, and all these different places. Oklahoma City, Birmingham, Alabama. Welcome to the call, guys. And welcome to, I guess, another edition of From Our Home to Yours. This is a show that we started doing maybe about 6 or 7 weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks. Sorry. 6 weeks ago. And because many people were home and so many people were focusing on everything that was going on and didn't know how to process it. And we just took it upon ourselves to say, let's talk to people. Let's bring them into our homes. People always wonder, I wonder how do the Bugses live? Right?
Well, now they know.
So now they know. And so we decided to come together every Sunday and do an unscripted show. That means that we don't talk about what we're going to talk about on this show until we get here. Microphone is here, camera's right here, and all of the world is here as well. And that's when we come together and the show actually takes on a life of its own because it's your show. And what our goal and role was just to really to take and make things not as heavy with everything that was taking place and all the instructions that they were giving people, that you can't talk to someone, you can't be next to someone, and can't hug anyone, can't kiss anyone, and all this kind of stuff that's been going on.
Right.
And we said, listen, let's just do our part. And so we have been very thankful for everyone who actually have watched, and thankful for each of you who have actually brought someone to the show. So if this is your first time on the show, we'd love for you to just go ahead and let us know on Facebook Live that you are a first timer on the show. And I'll put this right here. That way you can see the question, or you can see the comments as well. I'll put them closer to you because you don't have your glasses on. And over there, it just looks like, it looks like
gibberish.
Looks like math to her because she's looking at it. It looks like a science project. So hopefully you can see those right there, right?
Right.
You can see everything?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you guys have noticed, something positive happened. Did you notice?
What?
You didn't even notice, did you?
Something positive?
Yes.
No.
You didn't notice. Okay. All right. I'm going to tell you what positive that actually did happen. I see somebody's there for the first time. Who's that? Muhammad Yassin is there for the first time. And somebody says, yes, love, that it is real. It's real. You get HB and EB, just, this is how we are. Unscripted. And it's not a put on for television or for whatever it is. This is how we are. And every time like somebody's here, like Ed was here last night, and Super E was here, and the Beans were here on Friday. Yes, we had people over. So I'm just letting you know right now, we had people over. We did. And I'm going to have some more people over. We're careful. We're mindful. Put it that way. We're mindful.
But we miss our friends.
Yeah, we miss our friends. I'm like, what's up with this, right? So anyway, we just spray them down with Lysol. I got this big UV light, and you have to walk through the light.
He does not, people. He does not.
You don't see it because it's UV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's real, and it's authentic. And every time somebody's here, they're like, see, this is when the camera should be on, because they think this is a joke when you guys are on television, and it's not. It's just how we are. We've been together for 11 years.
11.
All right.
Long time.
So you guys know what that means. I educated you guys on episode number 2 that we've been together 11 years. And so this is just how we are. So anyway, don't want to talk a whole lot about that because we have been running out of time lately. And we got some.
Because you've been talking too much. Ask anybody.
I'm going to go back.
Get DMs about it. You've been telling us how much of a genius you are.
I have not
It's
said,
been taking up a lot of time.
I have not said anything about me being a genius. I have only repeated the people who have spoken up and released the state of my genius.
Yeah, the people you paid.
I have not paid them anything, and I can't help if somebody notices just one little small quality that I have.
You know what? It's too bad we can't claim a tax deduction for your genius, honey.
Well, we don't know, because of my genius, we don't get a tax deduction.
Write in about this.
Because of my genius, we pay taxes. We pay taxes, okay? We pay taxes, all right?
I'm looking for that good old tax deduction.
Anyway,
what are we gonna talk about today?
Today, well, here's the thing, all right? Here's what I want everybody to know today, that I'm not gonna try to win today.
You're not gonna try to win?
No.
Child, look at the Lord. What is this, because of Mother's Day?
Yep, it's Mother's Day. I already know the odds are against me. I already know it's girl and mother power going on. And one thing I've learned, if you know you're gonna get your butt kicked in the fight, just stay at home.
Holton, no, you fight the fights that need fighting, not just the ones you can win.
No, I don't know. All right, let me ask you a question. Why would I go into the ring for free and fight Mike Tyson and walk out with 6 black eyes and...
See, and we talked about exaggerating. I blame your mom for this, but you've been exaggerating a lot.
Hold on. Why are you talking about my mama? It's Mother's Day. You can't talk about my mama today.
Well, I'm just keeping it real for the people.
Anyway, no, I'm just saying, all the ladies.
Happy Mother's Day, Miss Carolyn, in case you're watching.
My mama don't have the internet.
Oh, good thing. So I can talk about her a lot then. That's, only if
her phone still my mama still have a flip phone with large buttons on it. I promise, guys, I don't know if my mama's ever been on I don't think my mama has ever clicked these 3 letters, W.
Probably not, huh?
No.
Oh,
no.
Wow. Okay.
She doesn't have a computer, so she don't know what's going on over here unless somebody tells her. Now, maybe one of the kids, my niece or nephew, may have their iPad and may show them, but they're not interested in uncle and auntie anyway.
So
not on the show.
What's the show about today?
Well, here's the thing. I was really ticked off today, and I hope he's watching. There's a guy out there, his name is Eric Johnson, by the way, and he lives in Orlando, Florida. And today I'm not a fan of Eric Johnson.
Why? What did Eric do?
Because anybody who watched this morning's inspirational call this morning, every day we have an inspiration call at 8:00 a.m. Central Standard Time on the same Facebook channel. And it's not dedicated to our business. It's just inspiration. It was incredible today. Alex did a wonderful job today.
He really did.
He did.
Awesome job, Alex.
Right. He did an awesome job today. But what I didn't like was the end of the call.
What happened at the end of the call?
Eric Johnson, who is one of our producers of our BÜM television that we have throughout the entire week, he gets on the call and says, "Happy Mother's Day to all of our ladies out there. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have at 4:00 from our home to yours with Miss Earlene Buggs, and Holton will be there too."
I don't see what he said wrong. What are you complaining about, Holton? Aren't you here?
You've already talked to the people and told them that I was the one who came up with the idea for the show. And you admitted it, so how is he's gonna be there too?
What does that have to do with the price of Manolos?
You don't say Earlene Buggs is gonna be there and Holton's gonna be there too, like I'm a sidekick. I'm not the sidekick.
You know what? I see how you been in your feelings. You're just too sensitive today.
And the other thing, I'm gonna tell you the other thing I don't like. I'm gonna tell you right now.
What's the other thing you don't
Many
like?
of y'all have been watching and seeing somebody on television. He's doing a great job, by the way. But Mayor Sylvester Turner, I got a bone to pick with him.
What you mad at Sylvester for?
Because he came to Houston.
He lives in Houston, honey.
He came to our event in Houston.
He's the mayor of Houston.
He's the mayor of Houston. And I proclaim this day, February 23rd, as Earlene and Holton Buggs Day.
I don't see what the problem is. See, that's your problem now. That's your ego getting in the way.
And
why my name can't go first? Ladies first. all the time I have to sit around and listen to your name be first. And I have never once complained about it.
Okay, so
the one time somebody say Earlene and Holton Buggs, you all in your feelings.
It's not the one time. Today, Earlene Buggs is gonna be there, and Holton's gonna be there too.
2 times.
I don't like it.
And 30 something. You know what? You should be shaming yourself, and you need to get yourself checked.
I don't like it. And you know, we're gonna get some straightening going on right here.
Holton,
I'm just saying.
You're dead wrong. So I need you to tell the people what we're going to be talking about today.
Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about today, but I can tell you this here. The good thing, here's the good thing that has happened. Here's what's really good that happened. If you guys notice, we got a budget increase. We got a budget increase.
Oh, but
yes.
How do we know?
Because did you see the beginning of the show? We had a commercial.
Oh, our commercial. Oh yeah, that was so nice.
Did you see the little stuff that they created, you know, from our home to yours if you got on late? And then they played last week's episode, like a little highlight of last week's episode. That was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was cool.
It was pretty cool. So we got a budget increase. All right.
That was nice.
That's awesome,
Thank
right?
you, Mr. CEO.
No, I did not raise that budget.
So who deserves
and
credit?
Somebody said Ronell says I am correct on this.
You're correct on what part?
I'm correct on this. You know, Holton's gonna be there too. Anyway, we'll visit that a little bit later on in the show. I'm not even gonna go there right now. It's Mother's Day, and I don't want all of this girl power stuff to come down on me.
Okay.
Anyway.
But you've wasted 20 minutes. What?
Okay. Now, can I keep it real with the people?
Yeah, you can keep it real.
Can I keep it real?
If you tell any more of my business, it's gonna be a misunderstanding though. Like, you want to keep it real, you better keep it all the way real on your side. When he comes back to the show next week and he has a knot on his head, you'll understand why.
See, you're now violence.
No,
We got
I'm
kids
not promoting
watching,
violence. I'm
and
not
now
promoting violence. I'm just saying.
We need to be able to talk
You're
things
gonna
through.
walk over, you're gonna limp back.
So who am I, Cletus now? I'm Cletus now. So here's what we vowed to do. We vowed that we would come to the show unscripted. We wouldn't discuss what we're going to talk about. I can't say unprepared. So I got to just tell y'all the truth. Can I tell my truth?
I don't know. I don't trust you and your truth. So.
All right. Well, let me just tell a couple things. And if I'm wrong, don't stop me. So here's how it goes. I've been watching her on this computer, and when she get in this zone, she gets in the bed and she gets her laptop out and she starts working. And then when I walk in and I'm singing, and I'm a pretty decent singer.
What, Holton?
To me, I'm pretty good. Anyway.
What I told you about grading your own test.
Anyway, and when I walk through the house singing, hey, I'm studying right now. Could you please tone it down a little bit? And no, I can't say nothing in my own house.
Oh my God.
I can't say nothing in my own house because she's in there studying. And then when I see note cards come out with all these multiple different colors, and she's been writing, and all of this is taking place over the last 48 hours, something's in trouble. I'm in trouble. Then I come to find out she has been preparing for today. And she says, well, I know what I'm going to talk about. We have not discussed it, but she says, we're going to talk about how to apologize. So I already knew this episode today, I'm passing it over to Ladybugs because I already know what this is all about. So we're going to talk about.
In my defense, I am very thorough. So what I discovered, and this is what I shared with him. You know, this man has selective memory. I shared with him, I said, Holton, I really think we need to cover apologies because they go hand in hand with the fair fight rules. People are fighting because they don't know how to apologize or they are refusing to apologize. So we need to cover this because I believe 80% of the fights that take place is because people don't know how and are not prepared to apologize, don't have enough courage to apologize, whatever. So we need to cover this point. Well, a true confession moment, as much as it pains me to admit this, I freaking suck at apologies.
Hold on, I just want to make sure. I want to make, because some people be saying they can't hear you. Hold on.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait. I freaking suck at apologies. Okay, babe, can you just
hold the mic like a rapper?
You're just too childish now.
Hold the mic like a rapper.
Put the mic down. So I said, I have to give this the time and energy and effort that it deserves, because I'm pretty much maybe out of 10, I'm maybe.
Let me record this.
Well, before Christ, okay, because I recently got saved. So again, for the 100th time.
Mm-hmm. It didn't work the first time.
I'm much better now. I've gotten better in the last couple of years, but anyway, I really used to suck at this. And what I have come to realize, and this is me being humble and very transparent.
Got it.
Is that most of us who have a difficult time apologizing, it's mostly because we didn't have apologies or the correct heartfelt apology model for us in our homes as children. And I can even say that if I were to ask my son to grade me on a scale of 1 to 10 on how well I apologize, I would probably get maybe a 5, I think, 5 or 6, maybe. So I'm not happy about that.
Grading your own test again.
No. I said if I were to ask my son, I'm just thinking, what grade would he give me? So I thought, out of respect for the people I love and out of respect for my relationships, because in all seriousness, the people that love me and that I love and that support me, they deserve for me to get better at this. And so I want to do, it's important to me. I've been on a personal growth path for a long time in my life.
They say the volume is low. Volume is super low.
Yeah, but I told you to put that up.
Yeah, okay. You just talk. You just talk. I just want to make sure they can hear.
So
don't worry about it.
So
I got it.
I felt.
Can y'all hear now?
Can you guys hear us okay? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they don't need to miss this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is real good.
I just feel that I owe it to the people I love and who love me to really get good at this. And so that is why, my love, I put the time, energy, and effort into this topic, because I really wanted to do a great service to it. Okay. And because it's a weakness of mine in a lot of instances, I wanted to make sure that I could discuss this from a position of strength. And you were all in your feelings.
I was in my feelings.
But why?
Because
I'm just trying to be great.
Yeah, but I'm like, all this. Guys, listen. Hold on for a second. Look at her. She done typed up. Look.
See, you know what? This is what I'm saying. You will always.
She done sent people.
Always in my.
She done sent people to the store. We done ran out of ink. We done went to the. We didn't run out of ink with all the print.
We were already out of ink.
We were almost.
I could not even print.
But your stuff is what we needed to go. You sent people to the store and stuff.
Yeah, because I needed to print out the pages, honey. I mean, I can't believe you're not giving me credit.
Yeah, but you put people at risk going to the store
I didn't put anybody
to go get ink cartridges.
Okay, hush. I'm gonna leave this discussion.
Okay, so she's gonna leave this discussion, and I'm here too.
I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
Why is the subject of an apology so important, and why are we covering this today?
I don't know. I need to ask you.
No. Why is learning how to apologize important? Because I'm really feeling like you owe me an apology right now. See,
I already knew that you was loading yourself, because I apologized like 3 episodes ago. I told everybody, I told the world, I said, listen, I apologize for whatever it is that I'm going to do.
No.
That didn't work? I don't owe you no apology, but here's why apologies are important.
No, okay, why? Give me something I can use now.
Because I think apologies are important on a serious note. Yeah. Because apologies are a way to move forward. Okay. A relationship is designed, should have elements of growth signals as a part of the relationship. Okay. Right? Yeah, and so it's like a plant. If you take a plant or tree, Okay. Well, I remember when we had this magnolia at our other house, we planted these 2 magnolias. And I would always look at the magnolias around the house, around the neighborhood. I was like, why is it that everybody's magnolias seem so huge and our magnolias seem like the growth was stunning? Okay. So I called the expert, the tree people. They came over to the house and says, well, Mr. Bugs, here's what you got to do. You've got to prune the trees. I said, what do you mean? We got to cut off some of these dead limbs.
Right.
And so we cut off some of the dead limbs. And the next thing you know, the next season, we had more magnolias, the trees grew. And I'm like, okay. So I think I wanted my tree to grow. And so I think apologies
So in this example, a tree is synonymous with a relationship.
Yes, the tree is the relationship. We want the relationship to grow. And apology is the pruning of the tree. When you cut off areas that were challenging and you've got to eliminate those, which is rule number 10, fair fight rules, don't bring up the past.
Right.
You apologize, you hit a reset button, and now you're able to move forward into the relationship, and the relationship can grow.
Okay, I agree.
Is that good enough explanation?
I mean, that's part of it. I think there are other points that we can make about why apologies are important. Yes, I agree with you. It sets the right climate in the relationship for us to move forward. That's one thing. I think it also serves as a basis for respect for the other person, because we have acknowledged that we have done something wrong, and we are taking responsibility for our actions.
I think that's a great component of a good apology.
Right.
Is it the acknowledgement that we have done something wrong?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the reason. Okay. So we've been married for 30 years. We've coached people, masses of people, millions. We have mentored many. We are gurus of personal development. So that makes us perfect at apologies, right?
Nope. I don't think you have enough experience.
Listen, we are very evolved people, and we always get our apologies 100% right. Wrong. People, listen. I don't care how much personal growth you have. I don't care how much coaching and mentoring you have done. We all screw up from time to time. We get it wrong. We say things that are insensitive. We let our ego and pride get the best of us. We don't listen attentively enough to really understand sometimes when we have offended a person and an apology is warranted. We are sometimes afraid that if we apologize, that another person won't accept it. Sometimes I don't want to apologize because I feel like if I apologize, you won't accept it. You really won't listen with an open heart. Is that valid?
Are you speaking in general, or are we speaking real?
I'm speaking in general. I mean, does that make sense to you?
Well, it could make sense, but I want to know what has held you from apologizing. You're so good at so many things, right?
Yeah.
So why have you, out of a scale of 1 out of 10, why have you been a 3 in apologies? I just want to know for real.
Right now I'm offended, okay? Because who said I was a 3?
Me.
I'm a 3, Holton.
Yes.
Okay.
That's being generous. Out of 10 offenses, you don't apologize 3 times out of 10 offenses.
Oh my God, this is not going well. Okay.
I told her the other day, I said, listen, let's go through our phones and let's search for the word I apologize. She didn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it.
Well, okay. Why have I sucked at apologies?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say this. I don't believe I really understood how important an apology was.
Okay.
And, like I said, in my home, my mom felt she was right even when she was wrong. Happy Mother's Day, Mom, if you're watching.
Happy Mother's Day, Mama Chloe.
So, and I feel like maybe in her home, it wasn't modeled correctly. So I just feel like I was never taught the principles of apologizing. And I think in our relationship, you have challenged me and taught me so many things about when to apologize, how to apologize, and what it all means. So I feel like I just didn't know how. And then sometimes my ego and pride can get the best of me, and I cannot apologize because I don't feel like I did anything wrong. And even if I did do something wrong, I'm not sorry about it. So I don't know what to tell you. You just expected too much from me.
See, I don't think you've grown.
What? You asked me a question.
Yeah, but I can see how you're getting in your feelings
well,
right
I'm
now
just saying,
about apologies.
listen.
You know, you haven't grown.
Listen, I'm doing the best I can.
At least get to a 4. Is that too much to ask? Get to a 4. I'm just saying, get to a 4.
Okay, listen. I was answering the question. Honestly, you asked me, why have I been a 3 in the past? Okay. And I was being honest about it.
So what do we want to talk to the people about? Do you want them asking questions? Do you want to ask me questions or what?
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Okay. And I think that I've written down a couple of notes.
This is going to be very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So just so that they know what they're dealing with here.
Okay, I mean, and that's
fair. I graded your paper. You're 3 out of 10. Wow. Normally, you couldn't even get into college. If you get 3 out of 10 answers, all right. Normally, you probably couldn't work at Burger King or FedEx or, customer service in our company if you got 3 out of 10 answers right. So I'm just saying where you really are.
I know, I totally suck.
Right. Where am I? What's my grade? Be honest. Tell the people the truth. Don't attack. Tell the people the truth.
Attack.
That's right.
I'm the one who.
Yeah, don't counterattack.
Okay, so if I have to give you an adequate, I'm gonna say you are 5.
Hold on for a second. You graded Trey said you thought that Trey would grade you at 5, and you're gonna call me a 5. So you think we equal on the apology schedule?
Yeah, but for different reasons. But for you listen. How you gonna get offended when you gave me a whole 3? And you offended because I gave you a 5.
Yeah, I gave you a 3, but I bumped you up 2 points.
But you know what? You going to hell. You are going to hell because listen, you are not being fair to me. I really do feel like I deserve, if you are at a 5, I deserve at least a 4.75.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, if y'all got some questions, just put them in the
chat.
Because
most of
I already said I'm not going to try to win this one. This is Mother's Day.
You already, no.
This is Mother's Day. I'm not even going to go there.
No, you already failed that test.
You done prep for six days. So let's get to the stuff because we got 30 minutes.
Okay, so here's the deal. One of the things that I feel is really important about this topic, I think, is on a serious note, and I really think you failed at this, and you're the worst parent. I really feel like overall I'm the better parent, but as far as apologies go, I think we both sucked at this, and I don't really think we were a good example for Trey. So I think we're talking about this. We're talking about this because we have got to get to a point in our households that we model correct apologies for our children, heartfelt apologies.
I don't know if I want to be a part of this conversation anymore.
Ask anybody.
Because I don't feel you saying we like we in France. We are not bad at apologies. You are bad at apologies.
Well, I don't agree with your assessment on it.
And then she goes and asks Trey, who's the better parent? That makes her a horrible parent. But she go ask him, who's the better parent? You did say that. You sent it. I saw it in the text message.
I did say it. And in my defense, I was just trying to find out, what he thought about it. But my son is so sweet. I'm so proud of his answer. He said, Mommy, both of you guys. But I didn't expect him because I really think he's afraid of you. So he wasn't being honest, but in my heart of hearts, I know that he thinks I'm the better parent. So anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
So when should you apologize?
When you should, in my opinion, you should only apologize when you are sorry about what you've done.
True.
When you want to acknowledge the wrong that you've done, that is when apologies should take place.
True. Okay, so there are other reasons. I feel like you should apologize when you're wrong. That's why I feel like you should apologize all the time.
See, okay.
You really should be apologizing for right now, but I'm gonna give you some time to really think about how your behavior, and you can apologize to me later. But I also think you apologize to move the conversation forward.
So if I'm tired of hearing what you have to say, like if you keep getting on me about something, I just need to say I apologize, and you won't bring it up. We go to the next.
You do not apologize to silence someone else.
I didn't say silence, to move it forward.
No, that's not moving it forward. That's you manipulating the situation. So you're really not sorry. What you're apologizing because you want to solicit a reaction, a certain type of reaction. No, all wrong.
See, this is what happens when you try to deal with somebody who studies and all that educated stuff, and they got all these degrees and stuff.
I'm just telling you what I learned.
Well, I'm just a little old boy from Tampa, Florida. I don't have a college education. I don't have a college degree, and I can't compete at the level.
You don't have a college degree?
No, I got college education.
So now you're gonna bring up the fact that you don't have a college degree.
Yeah, you're doing all this studying and stuff. You know I don't like to study.
Okay, so I agree with you 100%. You should only apologize when you were really sorry.
When you're sorry.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about when a person apologizes but they're not really sorry?
I think it's number one. I think that's wrong. Number one, I think that's wrong. If somebody's going to apologize and they don't feel they're sorry, number one, it's wrong. And it's a false basis for moving the relationship or the conversation forward. Because you don't have the basis of an apology is acknowledging the wrong that you have done.
Exactly.
The wrong that you have done. There's situations where you may have offended someone, or someone interpreted or received what you said in a way that was sensitive to them. But if you didn't do anything wrong, you shouldn't apologize for their feelings. If your actions were pure and you weren't wrong, I could empathize with you, and I can understand how you feel. So I can visit your world of how you feel without apologizing. But if I have done something wrong and I sit back and I look at it and think about it, wow, you know what? I should have done this differently. Now in my mind, I'm going to say, you know what? I apologize. And I apologize. And here's what I don't like. I'm just keeping it real. What I don't like, and we had this issue the other night. I don't like when people apologize for how I feel. You don't need to be apologizing for how the other person feels.
Okay, you're bringing up the past.
No, I'm just giving one of your points.
No. We already resolved that, and I apologize. That was a perfect apology. The second time around. The second time
around it was. First time.
So you're bringing up the past.
No, okay. Well, I'm just, you bringing up all this education stuff and your research. So I'm just letting the people know the truth.
I don't have a problem with the past. Okay, so I did. Okay, so let's give the people an example of what happened.
So bring it up. Yeah.
Okay, but I forgot. What did I do?
It's so much stuff. I'm just.
Oh my God, hold on. Well, I forget what the argument was. See, because I don't hold on to things.
Me either, babe. I don't see. That's what I'm saying.
What are we arguing about?
All the stuff that you do, I just let it go.
You are lying.
I let it go.
Truth ain't in you.
I let it go. So I don't even remember. I don't have a memory of what you did.
No, you do have a memory.
All I know is she apologized for, it was something that she said, and I didn't like her tone of what she said. It was something you said. And I didn't like her tone and her energy and her body language. And I said, your energy, your body language, the way it made me, this is what bothered me.
Okay. And
she said, I apologize for how you feel. And I said, don't be apologizing for how I feel.
Well, first of all, I have a very strong defense team. So let me just say that I have a stellar defense team. So usually when somebody tells me, I'm just being truthful. Usually when somebody tells me I've done something that they didn't like, I'm already rehearsing my defense because, I grew up shooting a dozen. So I'm very quick on my feet. So this particular time, I felt like the reason why I responded the way that I responded was not for the reason that he said he was offended. Because I was responding because I actually was perplexed. Like my response was more of a curiosity and more confusion than it was questioning what it was that he told me. So I said at that time, I apologize for your feelings. But once I was doing my research, I found out that apologizing for someone's feelings is entirely the wrong thing to do. So I went to him and I said, listen, I owe you an apology. I said, because I understand what I did wrong. And I understand that regardless of whether or not I felt I offended you, the bottom line is that you were offended. So let's live in the world of that. And I apologize for what I said. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I mean, then you still gonna get on here and give me a 3.
That's why you got a 3.
That what? Hold on.
Because that's recent. It's like your credit score. You got some recent activity.
Not like a 0.
No, you were. I mean,
a solid 1.
I don't want to bring up the past. I don't want to bring up the past. Right now, you're a 3.
Hold on. Anyway.
So, but she did. She apologized for. So let's wrap that one up.
Okay.
When a person apologizes, okay, number one, it should be sincere. Don't apologize because it's going to silence the conversation or change the subject. You apologize when you believe that you have done something wrong.
Right.
And it may not be immediately. What you can do is you can visit that person's world and acknowledge their pain and their sorrow, and you can sympathize. Honey, you know what?
Even if you didn't mean to.
Even if you didn't mean to. So for example, listen, I understand that you're hurt by what I said, and I don't want you to be hurt. My intentions were not to hurt you. Here is what I did, and what I will do is really look within to find if I did something wrong or should have done something differently. I will actually reevaluate that. Now, because I'm not ready to apologize right now.
Right.
So I can go there, empathize with you. If I come back and I say, you know what, that was wrong.
Well, ask for more permission to think about it, because I need a little bit more time to think about this, to maybe consider how I could have done this differently. Because sometimes when a person confronts you about something that you said, you don't always have, number one is it may not be the right time. You may have a dozen things going on. So you may not be at the capacity to give it the attention that it needs. So if that's the case, be honest about that. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Give me a little bit more time to think about this when I'm at a point where I can give it my full attention. Is that fair?
Yes.
Would you be offended by that?
No, I would not. Okay. As long as I feel it's sincere, I wouldn't be offended by that.
Right.
And at least I know you're putting forth effort, because it's not the apology. It's not the words of the apology. It's the acknowledgement of the other person's feelings and connection to you being the stimulus of them causing it. Maybe you haven't reached the point of understanding that you are the stimulus of their feelings, but when you reach out and they understand that you are at least connecting or visiting their world, okay, it softens the blow. And sometimes the apology may not necessarily be necessary. But here's the thing, the apology is also more for you, for the offender. Because
that's not what the research shows, but. I mean, that is one of the, that's what we were going to next, the 3 gifts of apology.
But the connection, what I'm saying is, it's for example, it's not the gift. It's not the act of me buying a gift that satisfies you all the time. It is the thought process. It is me visiting your desire. The gift is a representation of what my feelings are for you, for your sacrifice, or for whatever that gift may be. And so, because how is it that I could satisfy you with all different gifts? If that's the case, it's only one gift that should satisfy.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just,
you know what I mean?
We're talking about the research as well. So the research says that, and the resource that I use for this is Dr. Harriet Lerner. She actually wrote one of the first books I really loved on anger. She wrote The Dance of Anger. And so, it's a really good book for people who have issues with anger, would be me sometimes. And when I'm provoked. So anyway, I listened to a podcast that she recently did with Brene Brown, because she just came out with a new book called Why Won't You Apologize? And she says that there are 3 gifts of an apology. The first gift is to the person who has been offended.
Mm-hmm.
It is a gift because it is, like you said, acknowledgement that there has been an offense that has occurred. It is acceptance of responsibility on the other person's part.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of validates the offended's sense of reality, because you know how you can go to a person sometime and say to them, you know, you've offended me, and
right.
then they try to act like they don't know what you know, it's like they just will not acknowledge, you know, your feelings. And I feel like when you understand the basis and the guidelines for a healthy apology, and you understand that this is a gift that you give of acknowledgement to the person, that sort of changes the dynamic.
Okay.
The second gift is just what you said, honey. I'm so proud of you. It is a gift to self.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give an apology with the intent of getting anything in return. But honestly, only highly evolved people who have a well-developed sense of self-image can humble themselves in order to acknowledge someone else's pain, even sometimes when they don't feel like they've done anything wrong, or they don't understand the perspective.
Right.
So it is kind of like a sub gift of a true apology, because in essence, you are setting the stage for a healthy self-image. You're building your self-image and your self-worth, because you are in essence showing good character and integrity by apologizing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
The third gift is to the relationship. I have been in situations, and I can really speak on this.
And who's the name of that author again, so that everybody knows?
Oh, Harriet Lerner.
Harriet Lerner.
She also, and her new book is Why Won't You Apologize? But you know, the book that I became familiar with her when I read her book, The Dance of Anger, which is one of my all-time favorite books. Anyway, so the third gift is a gift to the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, because it allows the atmosphere to be clear so that understanding can take place. We can move the conversation forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. But it also does what it needs to do to preserve the relationship. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you can deal with people who refuse to apologize. And that's the kind of thing that's very damaging to a relationship.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because, you know, when a person refuses an apology, and here's the thing, most people who are absent of narcissism know when they have done something wrong.
Right.
Okay. When you're absent of narcissism, you know that you've done something wrong, and no one has to tell you. Right. I can feel when I've done something wrong. Those 3 times I've done something wrong since we've been married. I can feel it. I felt it those 3 times.
Okay.
Possibly a 4th, you know, possibly a 4th, but you feel it. Okay. Nobody have to tell you. You know, it's kind of like, when you get fired from your job. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a surprise. You know, laid off may be a surprise. Fired, you knew. Mm-hmm. You knew it was coming. Very few people get fired from their job and be like, well, what did I do? You know, you may say that, but you know already that you've been coming late. You know that you've been late on assignments. You know that you've been keeping up gossip so you know. And the fact that you will not bring yourself to a conclusion of acknowledging your sorrow for your actions in that relationship or in that contract says you are not worthy. You're not worthy of moving to the next step. Wow. With this person. So if this is not just marriage. Right. So if I am in business, true. I have a relationship with someone in business, and they refuse to be able to apologize. when they know that they've done something wrong. I can't go to the next relationship or the next business deal with you.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
And that is a huge price to pay
for
not saying I'm sorry, or it could damage the current business relationship that you're in, because you're like, okay, I can't move forward with you because I don't trust your capacity or your willingness to right your wrongs. So I'm not safe in this relationship.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it makes it very, very, I've been in this situation several times too.
Because the apology also serves as a means of security from the other person. Can I be myself? Can I be vulnerable to my partner? Can I just unleash and let them completely in and be vulnerable? But if they won't apologize, if they refuse to apologize, you're never going to get the best that I have to offer.
Right.
Because I don't feel because my feelings don't feel secure with you.
Right.
And so this is why apologies are deposits. They are deposits, or the apologies to me are, I would say synonymous to digging a well. And when you dig a well, you're going down for the gold. And the more you're able to give sincere apologies, the deeper the well can go and the closer you can get to the goal.
I love that. I also feel like you deepen the relationship, but you also re-earn your position in a person's life too.
Yep.
Because oftentimes we think that we deserve or are entitled to a place in a person's life, but we have done nothing to re-earn that position.
I think that's real important. So if you look at it, I mean, when you just brought up a great point. So let me give you an example. And in Christian terms, Christians would use the term, if you practice Christianity, would use the term repent.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Repent. And so repent basically is an apology to God or to Christ.
Right.
Repent.
Right.
Okay, so means to get back to, or to redo, or to be to replace. Pent is top, pentacle. It's the top. So when you repent, it is I am releasing or acknowledging so that I can get back to the top of trust with you.
Oh wow. That's
beautiful. That's what an apology is. So when I apologize, I'm now putting myself in a position that I can get back up to the top of your trust, instead of at the bottom of your skepticism.
Oh, wow. Okay, that just brought a couple of things for me. Number one, how...
Where's my napkin? I got a...
You got a fan?
I got a fan. Where's my handkerchief?
Oh my God, you made me lose my train of thought here.
By the way, guys, we got a few more minutes. If you want questions, you can send questions in on Facebook.
That was so profound.
On Facebook, and we'll take some questions as we finish up as well.
Okay. Okay.
And we do have some questions already here. Okay.
Oh,
go ahead.
Well, can I just talk
about sure. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So that also it brought up something really important for me, because I feel like when we refuse to apologize or we apologize badly, how it further damages the relationship. Instead of going in the forward direction, it takes us back. The other thing is, I think we should acknowledge how difficult it is for someone to confront. Because when I come to you, I mean, and I'm going to just speak for myself, I am usually an overfunctioner, which means I have a tendency to overcompensate in my relationships for everything that is lacking. So I don't always have the luxury of being the person in need. So I don't know how to do it very well. That's not an excuse. That's just the reality of the situation. So when I put myself in a vulnerable position to let somebody know that they hurt me, because I would let alone jump off the Burj Khalifa than to let somebody know they hurt my feelings. I'd rather slit my wrist. Okay, that's how hard it is for me to acknowledge that I have been hurt, because I don't want to be vulnerable in that way. So it takes a hell of a lot of courage to say to someone that you love, you hurt me. Because typically I respond
for you.
For me,
right,
yeah.
right.
For somebody like me, I'm talking about my experience. For me, when I put myself in that kind of position and somebody mishandles me, child, listen, my head gonna spin around like The Exorcist, because normally I respond to hurt with anger. I don't respond to hurt with tears.
Right.
So I know that this was always an issue with the two of us, because you would be further offended because I would respond out of anger and you would respond to my anger, and you never really could see that it was hurt that you saw, and not just me being my little shitty self.
Right, yeah, because I don't respond to, because my personality type is I'm a protector.
Right.
And so if something has wronged you, or someone has wronged you or offended you or hurt you,
right,
and you respond with anger or rage, my role and job in my mind is, let me put out the fire of rage. Well, how do I put out a fire of rage? Well, let me come together and try to logically solve this issue. Baby, listen, I want you to think about what they've said now. Why? Because she's rage, showing me rage, but it's really hurt. So I'm trying to put out a different fire. This is one of the issues of relationships that us men don't get. And we still don't get it. Right. And I still don't get it at the time that I need to get it. That is, a woman will show you the left hand, but she means look at the right hand. So she's hurt inside, she's angry, trash haven't been taken out, there's a spot on the floor, that gets acknowledged, the trash gets acknowledged, all of this stuff goes out because she's hurt. So I'm thinking it's rage because she had this conversation with such and such. But so now I'm putting out a fire of anger instead of, if I had saw tears, now the protector in me, who has messed with her?
You would have completely responded differently.
Right.
And so just so you know, people, this was the crux, is that how you say it? Crux of our relationship for 30 years.
For 30 years.
30 years, people. So I want to say this. There are some fights and some experiences that come into our lives because it's there to teach us a lesson. It's not to hurt us, it's to help our understanding. And I'll be honest with you. There are some tests you will take over and over again until you pass it. And this was one of them. This is one. It took us 30 years to pass this test. So I don't want you to beat up on yourself and get too down on yourself.
Well, over 20, not 30, but over 20 plus 20, years.
Okay. But because even when you know these things, it's still difficult. So I don't want to make light of that because it's pretty tough.
And after 20, I had to apologize. But then here's what I had to do. And I had to apologize. And then I had to take action to validate that my apology was sincere. Why? Because for 20 years, I was responding to the wrong thing. And so because of that length of time, words alone did not move the needle for me to be in a repentance place.
That's good.
So I couldn't get back to the top of her trust just with, you know what, babe, I'm really sorry that I have not made you feel like you were number one. I'm really sorry that I've made you feel like my family came before you, because that was part of the issue. And my response was, no, I'm a peacekeeper. I love keeping peace, and I love peace. Now, I fight, but I love keeping peace. And so I'm keeping peace because I see rage, but I don't see hurt.
And see, another thing he never understood. Let me just say this, and we got to move on because I know we run out of time.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I always felt like, Holton is a very nice person, much nicer than me in a lot of ways. But I often felt like he operated at my expense, and he allowed his family and other people to operate at my expense as well. And he could never hear that from me, because whenever I would complain about, I don't even want to use the word complain, whenever I would express concern or express any kind of discord with something that happened with our family relationships or our friendships, he heard that as it appeared to him that I hated his family or I hated his friends. And it was like, this is, so you don't understand that I love your family, but I don't want anybody taking my car without my permission. I love your family, but I want people to respect my home when they come over here. I love your family, but I don't want valuables in my home or money or anything coming up stolen. I love your family, but I want to be respected. I want my rules and my boundaries in my home to be respected. And so that was, I feel that was an argument that we had for 20 years. And I will take ownership of a lot of it because for so long, I felt so unseen and unheard and misunderstood that it somehow made me a bad person because I needed different things than you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not only that you needed something different, because my job is, I'm a leader and a provider. My mom told me a long time ago, she said, son, God put you on this earth to be a leader and a provider.
Best advice.
All right. And so she would tell me that all the time. So that was in my subconscious mind. So I grew up conditioned that number one, I'm going to lead, and number two, I'm going to provide. So everywhere I go, I lead and I provide. It's just
what you do very well.
That's just what I do. Okay, regardless. And it's not just providing. It provides security, provide comfort, provide friendship, provide freedom, opportunity, financial security, whatever it may be. That's just what I've been conditioned to do. That's who I am. So in the midst of all of what she's talking about, I'm responding to her anger of her disenchantment with the situation, but her language of expressing her disenchantment was anger or rage or disappointment. And the more of the occurrences that took place, the deeper the rage was, because it was like, well, the angrier I say this, maybe I'll get a better response. So I didn't get a response
the 596,000 times I said it. So now the 597th time I say it, I'm going off. Okay.
Right.
And so, now what you're focusing on is the way I said it. I don't like the way you came at me, but I said it nice 565 times. You still didn't get it.
No, you think you said it nice.
Well, I mean,
see, that's where we going right there. See, but here's the thing. When you got, when here's the thing I tell women, when you got a real man, you can be vulnerable and show your hurt to him, because a real man is going to go and make sure he stops the bleeding. But if you show him something else, he's going to stop that too. So I'm not hearing the hurt
because I didn't know how to show it to you.
Right.
Because here again, I just acknowledged the fact that I would let alone cut off both my hands than to say somebody hurt me. You know, so when I step up to the plate, it's already difficult. So when I do it and then I don't get the response that I need at the time, or a mismanaged reaction, I'm gonna jump off the Burj Khalifa. Okay, it's gonna be a nuclear explosion. So anyway, I do own my part in that. I understand, you know, what you're saying now, and I'm so grateful that we kept at it, because this is the kind of thing, honestly, that causes marriages to break up, and people never get the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because now we can completely see each other. And that's because I feel like both you and I took responsibility for our own growth. And I had to understand that if I expect you to understand something and I needed to resonate, and I needed to really resonate with you,
right,
I have got to learn how to solicit that kind of response from you.
Right.
And then you have to be smart enough to listen beyond what I said and pay attention to the hurt. You've got to learn me and learn, okay, she's not just angry. This is how she displays hurt.
Right.
So it's a responsibility on both people's side, because when you want to be in a functional relationship, that's what you have to give to the relationship.
I think the thing about it is this. This is why I tell people time, we've been together 15 years. And 15 time is one thing. Progress is a different thing.
Yes, Lord.
So for 20 years,
I could give you an offering on that.
You know what? Hey, listen, you got some deep pockets over there. I take tips on Mother's Day too. Just throw it at my feet. I dance for you too. You know what I'm saying? Throw it at my feet. Anyway, so what I'm saying is time is one thing, progress is a different thing, because, here I am in this relationship, and it's not all your fault. I was failing at understanding her. So let me give you an example. When is the last time? All right, now hold on. I'm admitting some stuff. No, I'm just being, I'm just being real with the people.
I'm so proud of you, man.
Yeah, see that? So, but what happens is this. When is the last time you sent your 18-month-old to the doctor and just had somebody pick him up and take him to the doctor? Never. Why? Because the 18-month-old can't express to the doctor what's wrong. But a mother and a father pays attention to the child to understand what's wrong, because they cannot express themselves. And so maybe the child just cries, and a cry can be 100 different things that are wrong.
Right.
But a mother who's paying attention to that child knows he's crying.
Right, and we know the cry. We know the cry of I just tripped and fell, or when something is really wrong, or I just want attention. We know those different cries.
And so here's what you do. You go to the doctor. Listen, here's what's wrong with my baby. Well, I know what that cry is. So we pay more attention, obviously, to our children's cry for help, and we're able to interpret those, but we don't pay attention to our spouse's cry. And because we expect that they are an adult, that they should be able to express to me in plain written English or plain written language what is exactly wrong with them. And that's where we go wrong, because we still, to this day, we have to interpret, what does that cry actually mean?
Right. And you've got to care enough.
Yeah.
You've got to care enough, because I'll be honest with you. Confronting someone, I've already acknowledged, is not an easy thing. Also, having to sit on the other end of that confrontation and have someone tell you and confront you about something that you've done, it also takes a hell of a lot of maturity to be able to separate your behavior from who you are, because sometimes when a person is being confronted, it's a shaming experience. So in order to admit that you've done something wrong, it means that I'm accepting or admitting that I'm a bad person. Good people do bad things all the time, and you have to be able to separate who you are from your behavior, because you're not your behavior.
That's right.
People mess up all the time, and so I think that is a great point to bring up, because that is one of the things that keeps a person from apologizing, because they somehow believe they're admitting to that they're a horrible person.
Yeah, that's true, and that's not it. That's not it at all. I've got one response I got in here, and let's ask them. Okay. Let's ask the people.
And I just have a couple of more points, and we can.
Because we have to hold on before you even go to the points. This is why one of the suggestions that came in here, and it says they want part 2 of this. If that is true, we want to know, because this is your show.
Right.
From our home to yours, we just come on here, and we didn't know it was going to evolve into this. To this level of conversation, but it's your show. And so if that's what you want, if you want part 2 of this next Sunday, then that's what you'll get. If this is helping you, if this is something that you want to continue, let us know in the chat right now. We know that we've actually expired our time. We had a couple questions. Yeah, we're out of time. We're 7 minutes over already. One of the questions that came in, but let us know right now. We're gonna have our producer. Remember, I told you we got a little budget increase. So we got a little commercial. I think they raised our budget by about $200 this week. So
I would honestly, because I think the next thing we have coming up will be a great place to stop. I think we should ask for maybe 10 or 12 more minutes.
Okay, but if we go 10 or 12 more minutes, we can't take the questions, and then these are going to develop questions. Here, and then we can bring those the next time if you want.
So you just want to start?
Yeah,
with this
I'm saying the next time.
That's fine.
If they want a part 2, we can start with that.
Okay, so everybody's saying part two.
Okay.
Yes, this is great. Okay,
right.
Go ahead with the question.
So the question that we have here, this is from Clay Fishman. Question: Has HB considered changing the PRIB to the PRIB? The Perpetual Residual Apology Builder.
We will probably be billionaires
And if so, who would have more qualified apology volume, QAB each month, HB or EB?
Oh, no, he would totally be. Listen, I'm doing the best I can, Clay.
She's a 3, bro.
First of all, no. I mean, well, I will say this. I have gotten better. I really have. And you know what? It is really important to me to get better at this. You know, and that's why I did the research. I take the time because, you know, I have some people in my life that I absolutely love, cherish, and respect. And they deserve the best version of me. And if this means I've got to eat crow and humble myself and learn these lessons, that is exactly what I'm going to do. And so I'm just grateful that the information is out there and that and that I have, you know, the room in my relationships to get better at this.
Yep. Awesome sauce. Second question is, how can you know the apology is sincere?
Okay. So there are several components, and this is, we were going to get to that. There are, Harriet says that there are 9 essential components of a heartfelt apology. Number 1. 9. They're 9. Okay. I mean, and we can just roll through this real quick. And then the rest of it we'll save for next week. Why don't you read number 1?
A true apology doesn't include words, but, or, if. Doesn't include the words, but, or, if.
How many times do we apologize and we're like, I'm sorry, but you provoked me, or I'm sorry, but you know, you deserved it,
or I'm sorry, but let me tell you what I was trying, let me tell you what I mean. You're still trying to justify your action, and what you're doing basically is you're actually asking for a refund on your apology when you use the word but or if.
Absolutely. Love it. Number 2, a true apology keeps the focus on your actions/behavior and not the other person's reactions or feelings. How often do we apologize and we say, I'm sorry you felt that way? The same mistake that I made and I had to come back and correct it. Because the issue is not the way the other person felt. The issue is my behavior and how.
They got it on the screen.
Yeah, because I sent these to Mark earlier.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So
the issue is not because you're not in control of somebody else's reaction. You're only in control of your actions. And it is about you acknowledging what you did to offend somebody, to hurt somebody, or to cause an inconvenience.
Right. So you should never apologize for how somebody feels, how somebody interprets, or whatever it is. You're apologizing for what you did that may have caused it or didn't do. All right. Number 3. A good apology offers an act of restoration or restitution that fits the situation, which means
we talked about that earlier.
A course of action, a new path, because if you are repenting, going back to the top of the ladder of trust, you have to move forward with action that validates your words were actually sincere.
How often do we apologize and we don't do anything? If for instance, I kept a friend's scarf and I didn't return it, I apologize for, you know, I'm sorry I didn't return your scarf. The appropriate thing for me to do would be to replace the scarf. Now, if I lost it or whatever, I have to go out and buy another one, or I return the other one. But we just need to realize that an apology is not just words, it's action, appropriate action where it's necessary.
Or if you felt slighted or you felt unacknowledged because I did not reward you with a Mother's Day card or gift or acknowledgement or something like that, however it is that you celebrate, and it really hurt you, my apology is not enough.
Right.
Because sometimes I felt like, oh, it's not sincere if I just go get something now. Yes, it is. Because obviously you didn't know better, and that's why you didn't do it in the first place. Now that you've apologized and you acknowledge, it is completely fine to run over to the store after you have apologized and come back with something, and it's okay, because what you're doing is you're fortifying your place back at the top of trust.
Exactly. I love that, baby.
Okay.
Where are we at? Number 4?
Number 5.
4. No, no.
Okay.
Number 4. A true apology doesn't overdo it. It doesn't underdo it either. Because if I run over your kitten in the driveway, the apology needs to be a little bit more severe than if I just broke a coffee cup. So, but you also don't want to be in a situation where you are just overdoing it, because that also feels like passive aggression to me. I don't know. You just overdoing it. I feel like then you're.
So
you're,
did I
you're
overdo it in Europe?
In Europe?
Yeah, in Paris.
When was that? When did you apologize?
When we had I had your purse and your key, and you couldn't get back to the hotel. I had your phone, and you were lost in Paris. And you wouldn't speak to me and Trey for like an hour, 2 hours, and I came back with a Birkin bag.
Oh, you can apologize like that. That was
I overdid it. I think I overdid it.
No.
I think I overdid it. I'm so glad.
No. You can.
Because at one time I didn't know that you can overdo it, so I think I overdid it. I won't be overdoing it no more. I won't overdid it no more.
You can apologize with a Birkin anytime you do something wrong.
I think it's overdoing it.
Okay, number 5.
A true apology doesn't get caught up in who's more to blame or who started it. You should apologize for your part in the issue, even if the other person can't see their part.
I totally hate this one.
Yep, but it's the truth.
Because when I feel like you are 98.7% wrong, and I'm only 2.3% wrong, I don't feel like I need to apologize. I really do feel like you should be apologizing.
Let me ask you a question. If you took a pregnancy test and it says you're 2.3% pregnant, you pregnant. You pregnant, man. All right,
but I'm only 2.3%.
But you pregnant. You pregnant.
Oh, I totally
I'm just saying.
that one.
A true apology calls that you do your very best to not have to repeat performance.
Right.
Okay. So that's again about what your actions are in the future. You can't apologize and then plan to do the same thing.
Well, this is where the pattern comes into play.
Yep, but we're not talking about that one. That was last week's show. Number 7, a true apology doesn't serve to silence the other person. We've already talked about that. Number 8, a true apology should not be offered to make you feel better if it risks
making the other person feel worse.
Mm-hmm.
All apologies aren't welcome. This is a good one, because I've been in a situation where I have clearly stated to a person, I am upset, I need a minute, I do not want to talk to you. So if you take it upon yourself to cross my boundary, and you're going to be apologizing, I've already told you that I don't want contact from you. That is completely out of bounds and unwarranted.
Right.
So we have to, if we want our apologies to matter, we have to consider the timing of them. And we have to be respectful of somebody's boundaries when they say they don't want to talk.
Mm-hmm. And number 9, a true apology does not ask the hurt party to do anything, not even to forgive.
How do you feel about that?
There is no, because that is now when you're using an apology is not a form of currency. You said that in your book, love is not a currency. So an apology is an extension of your love for the person in that situation. You can't use it as currency. So that means that I can't apologize, but ask you
and ask for something in return. I need to let my apology stand. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a great place. We can stop for today, unless you want to check real quick and see.
Nope, there's no more questions. I think I'm going to start by apologizing to our viewers because we went over their time.
We did go over.
That means you can't do it again.
We did go over.
Right.
I really wanted to give you guys this gift.
She did. She prepared.
Amazing for me.
She prepared. I thought she was taking like the LSAT or something. I was like, what is she doing? I'm going to get toasted. I didn't know what all this was, but I was going to get toasted today. Yeah. With all this preparation on Mother's Day coming with the girl power stuff.
I know. We apologize for going over, and I have a few more notes and stuff here. We'll go over that next week.
So now you know what we're going to talk about next week. Have your questions ready. And here's what I recommend you do for next week. My challenge to you is invite someone that maybe you need to apologize to.
Oh,
it's
wow.
easy. It's easy to invite someone who needs to apologize to you and say, hey, you need to watch this because you're trying to teach them how to apologize to you. Invite someone that you believe that you have wronged, or maybe you've already apologized to them in the past, and let this session be one of the acts of reconditioning new behavior for you, so that they see that you are even studying how to apologize. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say again, I sincerely apologize for all that I'm going to get wrong in the future. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, baby. Happy Mother's Day, you guys. Love you.
Love you guys. Thank you.